Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers traffic violations, undercover vehicles, and the right to remain silent, and was privately submitted, so there's no link to the original video available online. On the night of April 22nd, 2021, New York resident Stephen Ortiz was driving along Ocean Avenue in South Brooklyn when he came upon two cars traveling very slowly and blocking both lanes.
When defo tapped. Tits is flat.
All week in the No Nut November light. Oh my god.
I'm on the wrong side of YouTube again.
Once the vehicle activated its lights and revealed that it was an undercover police car, Mr. Ortiz immediately stopped honking and gave them some space. But once he approached the next stoplight, the officer initiated a verbal exchange with him.
Stay off the horn.
I had no idea what y'all were doing. Y'all were blocking traffic.
You're only allowed to honk your horn when there's imminent danger of collision. That's the vehicle and traffic law. Understand? You don't honk your horn just because you're annoyed. Got it?
It wasn't because I was noticed, because you were blocking traffic.
The officer stops in the roadway to inform Mr. Ortiz that he is not allowed to honk his horn unless there is imminent danger of collision. According to Section 375 of the New York Vehicle and Traffic Law, quote, "Every motor vehicle operated or driven upon the public highways of the state shall be provided with a suitable and adequate horn or other device for signaling, which horn or device shall produce a sound sufficiently loud to serve as a danger warning, but shall not be used other than as a reasonable warning, nor be unnecessarily loud or harsh." Similarly, Section 4-12 of Title 34 of the Rules of the City of New York states that, quote, "No person shall sound the horn of a vehicle except when necessary to warn a person or animal of danger." These statutes are similar to horn regulation laws in other states, which generally limit permissible horn use to issuing a warning. For example, Section 39, 3-69 of the New Jersey statutes requires the, quote, "The driver of a motor vehicle shall, when reasonably necessary to ensure safe operation, give audible warning with his horn, but shall not otherwise use such horn when upon a highway." Courts have reached different decisions as to whether the restriction of horn use violates the First Amendment right to free expression. In the 1998 case of State versus Kumpa, the Montana Supreme Court upheld two convictions for disorderly conduct against an individual for honking her horn when driving by a certain RV park, quote, "to protest the RV park and its location on the Yellowstone River." The court determined that because activity that is intended to embarrass, annoy, or harass is not protected by the First Amendment, the honking, quote, "did not constitute a protest to government of government acts, which would be entitled to protection under the First Amendment." However, in the 1992 case of City of Eugene versus Pulaski, the Oregon Court of Appeals held that a statute prohibiting the use of a horn for purposes other than a reasonable warning violated the First Amendment because it was unconstitutionally overbroad, finding that because the ordinance restricted all horn honking for any purpose at any time except as a warning, quote, "the ordinance is not limited to those circumstances when, because of noise or abuse, the public interest may be implicated." In Mr. Ortiz's case, his use of the horn likely violated the relevant statutes, but it is unclear whether a court would determine this application of the statute was constitutional.
No, you don't honk your horn for that reason, sir. Got it?
Why are you talking to me like that?
I'm just letting you know what the vehicle and traffic law is.
No. I'm not asking you the vehicle and traffic law. I'm asking you why are you talking to me like that?
I'm talking to you like that because you honk your horn and you obviously.
But you understand. But clearly you understand why I honk.
The officer abruptly ends the conversation by driving forward as he was being spoken to, leaving Mr. Ortiz somewhat confused and offended. After a moment of pause, Mr. Ortiz continues driving, and it initially appears as though the interaction has ended. But as Mr. Ortiz approaches the next intersection, he notices the officer's vehicle idling on the side of the roadway, and the officer initiates a traffic stop on Mr. Ortiz as soon as he passes by.
How you doing?
Put your hands on the wheel. Put your hands on the wheel. Thank you. Put that camera back to where it was. If you want to film, if you want anything, any information, you're going to get it.
Yeah, no, I want the information because this is kind of ridiculous.
Why are you pointing the camera that way?
I'm pointing for my safety.
You can point it wherever you want, no problem.
You want to film us too? That's fine. I don't care. Yeah.
I have everything on camera.
Yeah, I know.
My question to him was, why?
Wait, just put your hands, keep your hands there. Alright? License and registration, sir.
I want the business card. I don't want a supervisor.
Yeah. You'll get everything.
Talking to one.
I'm filing a complaint. This is ridiculous.
That's fair enough.
This is ridiculous. I'm filing a complaint with the CCRB.
Okay. 1-800-341-CCRB.
And my mother's a police officer.
Where at?
At the 1PP.
Okay. You said to me, why are you talking to me like that? Did I say anything discourteous to you?
Yeah, it's very discourteous.
What was discourteous? I used profanity?
I was trying to... You don't have to use profanity to be discourteous.
Okay. What was discourteous?
Well, I was trying to explain to you why I was honking. Clearly you knew why I was honking.
Uh-huh.
But you saw the light, didn't you?
And I told you.
Once I saw the lights, I stopped honking.
Okay.
I have respect for cops. My mother's a cop. But I also understand
do you know
what's going on in the world today.
Do you know, as you say your mom's a cop.
Yeah.
Alright, whatever she's a cop.
Puerto Rican,
yeah.
I'm a Hispanic,
no.
but
Okay.
listen,
let me talk to you the reason why. Alright, we're currently doing an investigation here. We're just looking for somebody. You get it, that? Did you get that? Alright. If I'm talking to him, it's because I probably have something, or the guys that I'm working with right now have something. The fact that you're actually honking to us like desperate, I get it. You want to get somewhere right now, probably home to your family, whatever. But come on, bro. Just let it be. We let you work. Let us work.
Mr. Ortiz had no way of knowing that these undercover vehicles were officers before he honked his horn, and the dashcam footage shows that he stopped honking the moment the officers activated their lights.
Oh my God.
I'm on the wrong side of you too.
In New York, police officers are permitted to use unmarked vehicles for a variety of law enforcement purposes, including traffic patrols. In fact, New York police departments often make use of specialized concealed identity traffic enforcement vehicles, also known as sight vehicles, which are unmarked SUVs intended to blend in with traffic, allowing officers to catch drivers who violate the law off guard. While New York officers in sight vehicles or other unmarked vehicles are not restricted from initiating traffic stops and can pull over people they witness violating the law, this was not always the case. In 1996, then Governor George Pataki issued an executive order prohibiting unmarked police vehicles from being used in routine traffic stops. However, when David Paterson became the governor of New York in 2008, he revoked Governor Pataki's order. While New York law does not place constraints on the use of unmarked vehicles for traffic patrols, some states have restricted the circumstances when an officer can use an unmarked vehicle. For example, in Ohio, officers cannot conduct traffic patrols in unmarked vehicles. Section 4549.13 of the Ohio Revised Code states the quote, "Any motor vehicle used by a member of the state highway patrol or by any other peace officer, while said officer is on duty for the exclusive or main purpose of enforcing the motor vehicle or traffic laws of this state, provided the offense is punishable as a misdemeanor, shall be marked in some distinctive manner or color, and shall be equipped with, but need not necessarily have in operation at all times, at least one flashing, oscillating, or rotating colored light mounted outside on top of the vehicle." Given the fact that New York law does not place limitations on the use of unmarked vehicles, a court would likely find that the traffic stop conducted on Mr. Ortiz was lawful.
And when I told you, when you knew who we were, and I told you what the vehicle and traffic law was, you were still piping up.
I was piping. I have it on camera, so I don't.
Sure, I'm telling you what you were doing.
At this point now, I'm just going to record the video.
That's
and send
no
it to
problem.
TCLB.
You're free to record whatever you want. I'm telling you about what you did.
I'm filing a complaint.
That's fair enough.
This is ridiculous.
And I don't know what the basis of your complaint was because nobody was discourteous to you.
Well, I saw the video and I'll let them figure that out.
That's cool. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. You got any information for your mom, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to call her right now.
All right. You get on the phone.
She's the one who always tells me to write complaints. Okay. That's the person who tells me to write complaints.
You're free to do that. You have a card or anything? Any proof that you're related to her?
You know, normally I don't like to use that card.
That's fine.
Mom.
What?
I have 2 NYPD officers pulled me over.
Okay.
They were blocking the streets. I honked the horn. The second they showed their lights, I stopped honking the horn. Right? So one cop goes forward. I go forward, and the other cop waits for me to tell me why I'm honking. He knows why I'm honking. I have him right here. He doesn't believe my mother's a cop. Can you please tell him?
You want me to talk?
At this point now I am going to file a complaint with the CCLB.
You want me to talk to her?
Mom, would you like to talk to the police officer?
Yeah.
How are you? So, if his license is good, he's good. No problem. I'm going to put your phone right here. If his license is good and he's got no problem, okay, go ahead. He's got, yeah, I'm hearing you. Okay. I'll do exactly that. Okay. Understood. Understood. So, here's what we got here, unless you don't want to know. Okay, so, I pulled next to your son, And I said, sir, I understand you're in a hurry. He's got it recorded, so I got no reason to lie to him. I said the vehicle and traffic law, under the vehicle and traffic law, your horn is used to signal imminent danger, not annoyance. That's all. That's all. That was too much for him, so here we are. That's what it is. I'm going to give him all of the information. Say again? I didn't hear you. He honked the horn in violation of the VTL.
Oh, okay. We'll see you in CPR.
Okay, all right. You have a good one. I'll give him all the information. There you go.
Yeah, so I honked the horn, and he's screaming at me.
Steven, I want you to be quiet.
After Officer Ollison explains his version of events to Mr. Ortiz's mother, the officer hands the phone back to Mr. Ortiz, and his mother immediately implores him to remain silent. Although it is clear that Mr. Ortiz was attempting to justify his use of the horn to the officers, his statements could actually serve to incriminate him. In the U.S. justice system, the government has the quote-unquote burden of proof in criminal cases, including traffic cases. This means that in order for an individual who is accused of an offense to be found guilty, the prosecuting attorney must prove every element of the offense, as established in the statute detailing the offense. For the illegal use of horn statute, which states that, quote, no person shall sound the horn of a vehicle except when necessary to warn a person or animal of danger, the prosecutor would need to prove that the individual sounded their horn and that they did so for a reason other than warning a person or animal of danger. During the course of his interaction with the officers, Mr. Ortiz admitted multiple times that he sounded his horn, and also asserted that he honked because the officers were blocking traffic. If Mr. Ortiz was charged with a violation of this statute, these statements could be used as evidence against him, making it much easier for the prosecuting attorney to prove the elements of the offense. Although there is an argument to be made that Mr. Ortiz's use of the horn was intended to warn of some danger created by the officers driving too slowly, his ability to make this argument could be hindered by the statements he made explaining his use of the horn. This situation is an excellent example of why individuals should resist the natural human inclination to explain their actions during a traffic stop, and instead invoke their right to silence when interacting with the police.
There you go.
I need your call.
Let me get it. You got a pen?
Now, why did you hunt the
You got a
horn?
pen?
They were blocking the street. Well, once they showed their lights, I stopped honking the horn.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
No, you didn't. And I'm not arguing with you. So go ahead. No problem. Ready?
Yes.
O-L-O.
O-L-O.
Uh-huh. S-U-N.
S-U-N.
Uh-huh. Shield number 789.
Shield number 789.
Tax number.
I want his what, Mom?
Tax
You good?
number.
Tax number.
No, she knows as well as I do, nobody gets her tax. You got my information now.
Command.
Then you come in. So you come in.
Officer Ollison walked away without providing Mr. Ortiz his tax identification number, and after taking a moment to collect himself, Mr. Ortiz left the scene without further incident. Mr. Ortiz told me that after speaking with his mother, he decided to file a formal complaint against Officer Ollison. As of the writing of this episode, Mr. Ortiz's complaint is still under investigation. Mr. Ortiz also informed me that he will not be taking legal action against the officers, but he hopes that his complaint will result in a reprimand or additional training. Overall, the two officers get a C- for maintaining a condescending and unprofessional attitude throughout the encounter, failing to de-escalate the interaction, and for conducting an unnecessary and frivolous traffic stop on Mr. Ortiz. Although there are no doubt ethical questions to be raised about this stop, it would likely be considered illegal detention by a court, and the officers do appear to remain within the bounds of their authority. Nonetheless, it also appears as though the entire purpose for the stop was to obtain Mr. Ortiz's identity, issue a second verbal warning, and argue about the horn violation. The officers' entire perspective of this encounter was based around the notion that Mr. Ortiz maliciously honked his horn at them, knowing that they were police officers, and the dashcam video shows that was simply not the case. Both of the officers also failed to effectively communicate with Mr. Ortiz, and eventually resorted to verbally distorting the facts of the encounter to support their narrative. It is important for officers and citizens alike to understand that communication is a skill that can be developed through repetition and training, and communicating with citizens makes up a large majority of an average law enforcement officer's job. The way in which an officer communicates with a citizen can have a dramatic effect on the tone and outcome of any interaction, and the escalation of this encounter can largely be attributed to Officer Ollison's attitude and unprofessional conduct. Ultimately, the officers did not arrest or cite Mr. Ortiz, but many of their tactics were unethical and did not serve the better interest of the public. Mr. Ortiz gets an A-, because although he could have exercised his right to silence more tactfully, he maintained a calm and collected demeanor throughout the encounter, respectfully challenged the legitimacy of the stop, and followed up this encounter with the proper channel of complaint. Mr. Ortiz did a great job of staying calm, and having a dash cam ensured that the facts of the stop would be accounted for. While dash cams can be a powerful tool for interacting with police, it is important to bear in mind that they offer accountability to everyone that is recorded, and recording yourself engaging in a dialogue with a police officer may not always work out in your favor. Mr. Ortiz may have benefited from invoking his right to silence sooner, but he carried himself relatively well in every other aspect of this interaction. Mr. Ortiz's mother also deserves recognition for telling her son to remain silent and working to de-escalate the encounter over the phone. I commend Mr. Ortiz for following up this encounter with a formal complaint, and I commend Mr. Ortiz's mother for advising him to remain silent and ask for the officer's badge number. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for more police interaction content.